If you've been watching my videos for a while, you might know that I have a series called Introducing People to Snakes Who Are Afraid of Snakes. It's a catchy title. I mean, it's probably a bit long. It's a little bit wordy. But there's a charm to it, though, and I think that that's the point here. Anyway, this is one of those videos. Welcome to the Green Room. I'm Bob Bledsoe. Today's guest is a treat. Is it a girl? No, it's not, Kent. Dang it. It's my friend Lewis. You don't know him. He's an English guy, bass player, tours with a bunch of bands. He's a cool guy. Oh, awesome. I like cool guys. I get along with cool guys pretty well. They're always like, "What's up, Kent?" And I'm like, "Hello." Great. Anyway, Lewis is not comfortable with snakes, and that's about all I know. Usually when I talk to my friends about this, I try not to get too deep into it, and I try not to have them ask me a ton of snake questions before they get on camera. So let's use the magic of Future Bob's editing and just cut to when Lewis is here. You know, Past Bob doesn't have to request a cut. I'm a professional. I'll just cut to it. Lewis.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with this. You told me the other day that you are uncomfortable with snakes. So you're not petrified.
No, not at all.
Tell me about it.
I don't know, I guess I just can't relate to them. The only interaction I ever had with snakes without seeing them face to face is through the Discovery Channel. They're all venomous and harmful, poisonous, and
yeah. Okay.
And they're just ready to hunt you.
Yes.
And what have you.
Yeah, I get it. And you probably growing up in England, you probably didn't run into snakes very often.
No, I didn't see a single one where I come from. I know they're there, but I never encountered them. So again, it's really hard to relate with an animal that's just so very different from you. That's
a really good point. Is that we tend to relate to mammals really well because they kind of do things that we do, and snakes don't. This is a weird question. I want to say, what kind of snakes are you afraid of? But what is it in a snake that would make you afraid?
Well, first off, I'm afraid of needles. I can't stand needles. I've been that way ever since I was a kid. And knowing that these things have just tiny little teeth which are ready to puncture you at any moment.
A whole bunch of little needles. Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
No, I don't like it.
I get it. So let's do this, because I want to bring a snake out. So tell me what would be scarier between this. So if you had a choice of either a large snake or a small snake, or you had a choice between a light-colored snake versus a dark-colored snake, because that makes a difference sometimes.
Not really too bothered about the colour and size. I'd like to say start off smaller, but that's such a cop-out.
No, it's all right. No, we should start off smaller. I think we should. So I'm going to
size our way up.
Yeah. I'm going to get a very small one. I'm going to get a baby that hatched out just a couple months ago. 4 months ago, maybe? Something like that. I don't remember. I'll put it up on the screen. Let's get Willow out.
So they're all named?
Yes.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So this is a Willow. She's a ball python. You're just going for it. So I'll tell you this before you ask. She's never bitten, and she's never given an indication that she would want to bite. And
I feel her tongue. I feel her head.
Do you want me to take her?
No.
Okay, you tell me if you want me to. But so I'm gonna tell you a few things before you ask questions, because I know that the bite is what you're concerned about.
It really is.
So the tongue thing is her just figuring out what's around her. She's got a sense
sweetheart,
with her tongue that's stronger than her sight, that's stronger than her smell. So she figures out her world based on her tongue. And she's learning what this surface is that she's on. She may not even realize that you're a person. You might just be a warm tree to her, and she's just sort of figuring it out. But she's acting relatively comfortable right now. Okay, so snakes only bite for 2 reasons. If they think you're food, number 1, and you haven't been handling any rodents, so you don't smell, I assume.
I have not handled any rodents recently.
Okay, good. Not recently.
I used to have pet rats.
Okay. But you've probably bathed since then.
I'd certainly hope so. It's been a few years.
You're right. Okay. So she would have no reason to think that you're food, and she would also have no reason to think that she's being attacked and that she would need to defend herself.
Yeah.
So
I think she recognizes her daddy.
Yeah. So she recognizes my scent because not because she's like she loves me or anything like that. It's just that this is a surface that she's familiar with, the scent of. She might be a little bit uncomfortable in your hands, and she goes, "Oh, here's something I'm familiar with. Let me sort of anchor to that." If she was nervous or scared, she would ball up. She'd like be in a ball. She'd be super tense.
So this is her being curious.
This is her being curious. Yep.
I mean, she is beautiful.
Right? Isn't she cool looking?
Yeah, I've never been afraid by colours of snakes or anything like that. But the patterns of them are beautiful. I know, sweetheart, that was me. That was my thumb. Sorry. I guess another reason why people must be so uncomfortable with them, myself included, must be just kind of not knowing enough about their nature and just kind of knowing that they are, that they're very much lone stars, if you will. They don't really appreciate company all that much. They just
right. Yeah.
It's them and them alone.
Yeah, most species are not social creatures.
So putting them in human hands must be just, it's got to be scary for them, I would assume, wouldn't it be?
They have an instinct that tells them that everything's going to attack them. And it takes a little while, but not too long, to kind of override that instinct and let them know that the human that cares for them, and humans in general, are not going to hurt them. And there's certain ways that you can handle them. For instance, if I were to, pick her up by putting my hand over her head, that seems like a hawk coming down to attack her.
Interesting.
So every time I went to pick her up, she'd be scared, and that would make her a little bit nervous around me. But so if I know how to pick her up, if I know to just go from behind where she can't really see, and then pick her up like this, like she has no reaction to that at all, Huh. Whereas if I quickly came from over the top of her head like this, she'd be like, ah. It's weird to figure out how to handle a snake, because when you haven't done it before, but you really can just kind of manipulate them. Like you can go hand over hand. She's not bothered by this at all. She's going to kind of move, and I can just sort of do this.
Yeah.
Sort of thing,
Oh my god, and that feeling is just so strange. Just feeling these scales just grip onto you.
Here, I'll show you the other one. These were my 2 holdbacks of the last clutch that hatched. So here's a great example. This is Dash, and he was sleeping. So when I went to pull him out, he balled up. So this is why they're called ball pythons. Yeah. I've actually never seen him ball up. This is the first time I've ever seen him get into a ball, but I think it's because he was sleeping, and I just went in and picked him up. Huh. And it made him nervous. There you go.
Hello. Hello.
Hey, pal, you waking up?
Hey, dude. 2018, I was working in San Diego. I'm a touring musician. Uh-huh. And, you're getting curious, girl. That's so cute. And
put her back in. Who were you touring with?
I was touring with Jason Charles Miller, and he's sort of like a southern rock outlaw country artist.
Okay.
Former lead singer of industrial band Godhead. We had a residency at Moonshine Flats in the gas lamp district of San Diego during Comic-Con. And right next door to the venue was a Lara Croft Tomb Raider themed event. They had snake exhibitions and interactive snake experiences. So
with live snakes.
With live snakes.
Yeah.
Terrifying. So
did you interact with any of them?
I did. I had a couple drinks after sound check, and I felt brave. So I go in there and I handle this snake. To cut a long story short, I handle this. It was a white python, beautiful looking creature, but the handler gives it to me and then goes, "Yeah, we just woke her up, so she's a bit grumpy right now." And I'm like, "What? Why are you giving me this animal? Take it back." Did you ever find these animals actually being social?
Not really. I mean, I have a playpen that I put up for the smaller snakes, and if I want to have 2 or 3 of them roaming around, I'll put them in the playpen so that they're not going to go missing. And they'll hang out with one another, but just because they're in the playpen together, they kind of ignore one another. Right. This is Bear.
Oh, he was really ready to just come out and be like, "Oh."
So this is kind of nervous body posture. It's because he just woke up, but he's giving longer tongue flicks. He was doing like short, quick tongue flicks to make sure that, just in case there was danger or
burying his head.
Yeah, but that's just him checking. He's seeing if he can go that way. And once he realizes that he's bumping into your hand, he'll probably come back up.
Oh, that's so weird. He feels wet, but I know he's not wet.
Yeah.
What's that about?
He's just smooth. Just smooth.
He is so smooth.
Yeah, it's the smooth belly scales. So if you feel up here, it's different than below. The scales below.
That felt wet. That's so strange.
Snakes are head shy. They want to protect their head. So people always have the tendency to want to go for the head, especially if they're not scared of the snake. They want to go for it because that's where you pet a cat or a dog.
It's just where you pet
on the head, right? But that's a really sensitive spot for snakes, and I work on my snakes to not be as head shy, But like Bear here, he'll back up a little bit, He'll do a little bit of that.
Don't do that when I've got him in my hands.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
That's all right.
It's all right. You know, I occasionally will touch his head, and he's pretty used to it.
My latest pets were rats.
Oh.
And they only ever lived in their cage when they were eating or sleeping.
Right.
Other than that, they were free roaming.
Yeah.
And
free roaming rats.
Free roaming rats.
I love it.
They were great. They were like tiny dogs. Tiny dogs.
That is fantastic.
So they try and nab your food, they try and nab your drink, they'd come up, kind of chill out on your shoulder, get pets,
So
give you
fun.
little kisses, and then run off and go and chew some skirting boards or something.
Yeah.
Anything made of wood. Or my shoes, it would seem.
Right.
But they were very social animals. They'd come up and they'd be like, hey, love me for a little while, and then I'll go do my thing. I just don't see snakes doing the same, which is, I think, what I would kind of want out of an animal.
Right. So that's, I mean, I've actually done a video on that, you know, reasons that people want a snake are totally different than the reason that you would want a dog or a cat or a rat who's a super intelligent mammal, you know.
Yeah.
Snakes are not going to give you affection back. They're not even going to like you back. They won't necessarily dislike you. They'll just tolerate you, kind of at best. But people keep them for a completely different reason. It scratches a different itch than I want a companion.
What's the itch?
The
like
itch is,
for you,
it's
what is it?
the fascination with them.
Yeah.
So I've been fascinated by reptiles in general since I was a little kid. And so I've had lots of reptiles in the course of my life. And so it's fascinating to unlock their behavior, but it's also super rewarding to have a snake that is supposed to be afraid of you and is supposed to really fear this. You know, I'm a giant monster to them.
Yeah.
And to be able to develop trust where he, you know, right now he wants to crawl onto me and he has no fear and he tolerates me. That's a really cool.
I mean, it's almost like he likes you. Just saying.
Almost, yeah. All right, let's get a different one. I think there should be a Kent's Corner. Future Bob should cut that in. Again, there's no need to request that I cut to something. I'll just do it. Although, in this case, I was going to leave it out because it's always super awkward when Kent meets someone for the first time. But if he wants to leave it in, here we go. Hi, welcome to Kent's Corner. I'm Kent, and today I'm going to be meeting somebody new that Bob says is a cool guy, but I'll be the judge of that. I'm really good at determining whether somebody's cool right away, right when I meet him. And you know what? I'll even give you guys a signal. If he's not cool, I'll look straight into the camera and I'll be like, nope, not cool. Like within 3 seconds of meeting him.
Oh, hi.
Oh, I think he's here, you guys.
Oh, you must be Ken.
You guys, he is really cool. Yep, I am. I'm Kent. Hello.
Ken, hi, how are you?
Hi. Do you do a special handshake, like a fist bump one or anything like that?
No.
Just a regular handshake.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I know a lot of people have different ones, and so I have a lot of them memorized. But I used to be really good friends with a guy who was super cool, and I mean, we would hang out a lot or whatever. Or I always knew where he was going to be, and so I would try to be there. But he would remember who I was, and he'd always be like, "What's up, Kent?" So, do you know Jeff Anderson from Spokane?
No, I do not.
No, I just thought because he had rock and roll hair and would wear leather jackets, sometimes jeans jackets, and he had an accent too. His was Midwestern accent.
Huh.
So, yeah.
Well, Ken, nice to meet you.
Okay.
I'm going to go inside. I'm going to meet Bob and his friends.
Oh, okay.
So it was nice to meet you.
All right.
See you later, mate.
Don't get eaten by any snakes. You guys, did you hear that? He called me mate. That's like German for best friend. Thank you for watching Kent's Corner. Yeah, told ya. Okay, back to the video. Let's just bring her on. So this is Delilah.
Delilah, beautiful name.
This is these two snakes that you held. This is their mom.
Oh.
This is Mama.
Hello,
So
sweetheart.
Delilah's in shed, and she's clearing up. So that means that she's probably going to shed tonight. It's usually about a week or so process.
Is that this yellow tinge?
No, that's her color. That's just her color.
color.
But she will be brighter when she does shed. Delilah's super sweet.
All right.
But a little bit bigger than Bear.
As long as she's sweet.
What were we talking about? You asked me about free roaming.
Free roaming snakes and whether they have a tendency to just be kind of social and just come up to you and just be like, oh, hey, dude, what's up? And then go about their snakely business.
So they don't do that. What they do usually, ball python. So there's different species of python, and I have 3 different species. So
okay, interesting.
Most of the snakes here are ball pythons. And
what is the definition of the ball python? I think you were telling me that earlier, weren't you?
yeah, well, they're called ball pythons because their defense mechanism is that they ball up.
I see.
But they're also, you would call them royal pythons. You might
in Britain?
Yes, you might have heard that term before. And that's because
everything has to be royal with Britain, doesn't it?
right. Well, it's also because in Africa, kings and queens in West Africa would use them as jewelry. Because they're so docile and they'll just hang out on your wrist or your neck or whatever.
Oh, so these things really are that docile, huh?
Yeah. Ball pythons like to hide. And usually when I free roam a ball python, they'll cruise around. She actually likes to cruise around quite a bit. But then when they find a place to settle, they curl up and fall asleep and they're out for the day. So this mirror that's behind you, this is kind of their favorite spot, is curling up behind that mirror.
Oh, no way.
And they will sit there all day. But I wouldn't have them live out here. That wouldn't be good, you know.
Right.
But if they're out for the afternoon, even for the day, if they're out from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m., which has happened occasionally, that's okay. They'll get there. They'll warm up when they go back into their enclosure.
And do they go back of their own free will?
No, I gotta pick them up and put them away.
God.
Yeah, she's pretty cool, right?
There's those things at the front of their face, almost like millions of little nostrils.
Yeah, do you know what those are?
No, those are interesting. What are these?
Those are heat-sensing pits.
Heat-sensing pit. That's
Yeah.
the heat-sensing pit.
So, pythons
Plenty of heat here, love.
and pit vipers and some boas have heat-sensing pits. And they can literally, science describes it as they think that they actually can see a thermal image like we see a thermal image.
Yeah.
They think that that's kind of how they can literally see that. In the middle of the night, they can, across the forest floor, they can sense heat. We'll get back to Lewis and I in just a second, but as you can see here, these are the boards that contain the names of the Horde of Keepers. It's a secret society, so please don't share these names with anyone. These two. The one thing I'm not going to tell you is where in the forest we meet in the middle of the night on full moons. And if you ask any of these people here, they won't tell you either. Aside from our midnight meetings, there are a ton of perks on Patreon. The most important, I think, being that you get to help support this channel. But there are Patreon exclusive t-shirts and sticker packs and extra videos and occasionally some extra live stuff. Plus, if you're on Discord, you can get a special Horde of Keepers role on the Discord server. By the way, you can be on Discord whether you're in the Horde of Keepers or not. There's a link in the description below, so check that out. These are our channel sponsors. Thanks so much to them. Black Box Cages, Lane Labs, and Gray Family Snakes. You've got discount codes here for cages, frozen rodents, and snakes.
Their eyesight is poor, correct?
Yeah, depending on the lighting. So
Right.
These are basically nocturnal, but they're crepuscular, meaning they're most active in the early morning and at dusk.
Yeah.
But they see better at night than they do in bright light.
She's such a curious little girl, this one. I
Yeah.
like her.
Yeah.
I like her. You can stay. God damn, it's a shoulder snake.
Okay. Yes, she is. So she is a very large adult ball python. Most ball pythons won't get this big. I like how you're just going for it. It's great. And you're holding her perfectly. That's how you want to hold a big snake is the fattest part of her body at the front and the fattest part of her body in the back, so she feels supported.
Okay, right? That's good. All right.
And then a good thing to do would be actually to put her on your neck now, because then she's on your shoulders.
What about, should I tie my hair?
No, you don't have to. Once she's on your shoulders, you can put your hair back, but just take her and put her right there.
Just right back.
Yeah.
God damn.
So here's the thing.
Let's let you get a little bit more familiar.
She'll get familiar with you.
So we just go straight in and put her. Just lift her over and just be like, swing.
Yep, exactly. And then
The snake on my shoulder.
Let her. Yeah, there you go. That's great. So she's 5.5 feet long, and she's about 9 pounds, a little over 9 pounds. She's
only 9 pounds. Well, she feels like a guitar right now, actually.
Yeah. So, and she's building follicles too. She's working on being a mama.
Oh, she is?
So,
maybe.
This is the one that I was talking about that laid infertile eggs 2 years ago.
Oh, she was.
So I gave her a year off, and now I'm breeding her with that same male, and we're going to hope for some babies.
Whom is the male?
The male is Detective Inspector Rorschach.
That's the best name ever.
Right? He lives in this enclosure here. What's your level of fear, 1 to 10, with her after holding all these other snakes, and now you're holding the biggest one?
Well, she's currently on my neck, and that's terrifying. Having it on the shoulders is strange.
Right.
It's strange how cold she is. In terms of fear, it's definitely easier. Still a little bit there.
Yeah.
But it's definitely subsiding now that I've worked my way up and I'm used to it. Well,
yeah.
Without today, I definitely wouldn't have been able to go underneath her head in order to kind of like pick her up or just kind of do that.
Yeah.
I would never be able to do that.
Right.
Like I would have just cowered and ran.
Yeah. And that comes down to not knowing what their behavior is like. Like, you don't know if a snake is just going to randomly go from this to just like that on your arm.
Yeah.
Know? And I wouldn't put a snake in your hands that would do that.
I mean, she is absolutely gorgeous, though. All the snakes you have are really beautiful.
Thanks. So you've held only ball pythons right now.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get out a superdwarf reticulated python and put that in your hands and see what you think of that.
All right. Yeah, her eyes are terrifying. Those are the sort of things that you see in horror movies.
Really?
Look at that.
So I'm just going to hold her for a minute. I'll give her to you in a second.
With the exception of the eyes, I'm looking at this snake and I just can't tell the difference. Again, take the eyes out of the equation, I can't tell the difference whatsoever. So,
right.
In terms of physical appearance and personality traits, what's the difference between a reticulated python and a ball python?
So first of all, can you tell that this snake is way longer and thinner?
I can. Also, almost like a rainbow color in the reflection.
Yeah, iridescence.
That's what they call that?
Yeah.
Oh, look, right there. That's insane, that, isn't it?
So this is a semi-arboreal snake. So they spend time in the trees. Mm-hmm. A lot more than ball pythons do. Ball pythons will occasionally, but they will a lot more. And they're a lot longer and a lot thinner than a ball python that's a comparable weight.
Yeah.
So she might be the same weight as, let's say, bear.
Oh, interesting.
Probably the same weight, but twice the length, half the width. Now the other thing, you can let her smell you for a minute. She's gonna always move. Also, they're constantly moving. But let me tell you, I'm going to try to say this fast. Reticulated pythons are the second largest snake in the world. They can get over 20 feet long, 200 pounds, 300 pounds, massive. And
how many feet long?
Like 20 plus. That's a big one. 12 to 15 feet is probably normal. I have never had a mainland retic. But this is a super dwarf reticulated python. So she comes from an island where they grow smaller, basically. And she is not full grown, but at her max length, she'll be somewhere between probably 7 to potentially like 10 feet.
Wow, that's insane though. So how old is this little baby? Very
small. So she is almost 2. She's almost 2 years old.
Still a baby.
But the cool thing is that I have her, she's still a reticulated python. So they're considered the second smartest snake in the world. I don't know how you determine that, but...
Nor do I. They do math?
Yes. They're actually target trained. So she has a target that she knows really well, and
that's actually really insane.
I'll show you what it looks like, but I don't want her to see it because
she went in for a kiss.
Yeah, so this is the target right here. So this blue thing right here.
Yeah, let's not show her.
And that means food to her. So she knows that when she sees that target, she can interact with it, meaning to come up and touch it with her nose, and she'll get food. So I can get her to move anywhere I want, basically. Really smart and really interactive, even though they're still not considered social. If I have a ball python out and they're cruising around, they don't really care where I am or what I'm doing or anything like that,
Yeah.
But the retics, when they're on their ladder here, and I hang stuff from the ceiling that they can crawl on and stuff like that, if they see me, if I come anywhere near, they want to know what I'm doing. They want to crawl on me and then crawl off of me, and they're just really curious about what's going on. They still want to do their own thing. Like, she's curious about you, but she also wants to get to her ladder, And then she wants to get on me, and, she's kind of cruising around. But very interactive.
Sorry, girl, you're pulling on my hair there, sweetheart. So that's interesting. So, social, not the right word, but more interactive, yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Huh. Hi, hello, sweet pea. How's the hearing on these animals?
It's really interesting. They don't have ears.
Yeah.
But they do have, on the back of their head, they have a bone that's kind of like an eardrum. And so they can pick up low frequency sounds.
Yeah.
And they can easily pick up vibrations. So a lot of times you see a snake on a trail with their chin down on the ground. They're picking up any vibrations from the ground.
Yeah.
And we'll just let her go. We'll see what she does. So they're picking up any vibrations on the ground.
I miss you.
They can hear. Well, she might come back. You never know. They can hear low frequencies. She probably can't hear me talking right now. But if I was talking like this all the time, she might be able to hear that because the sound waves are pretty
interesting.
You know,
so yeah, somewhere lower.
Yeah. So I tell people I don't think she can hear when I play the ukulele, but she can probably hear if I'm playing the banjo, the really heavily reverberating banjo, or the
guitar,
bass strings on the guitar. Yeah. Oh my gosh, look at her. So move over a little bit so that the camera can see. Oh shoot,
she moved with me.
She moved away.
Is that Nat?
Yeah. She was trying to decide if she wanted to crawl back on your shoulder, I think.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah. Because she was reared up like a cobra, right?
Yeah. That is a terrifying body language to somebody who doesn't understand.
Right. So for cobra, I just said this in a video recently. For cobra, that means they could potentially strike, right? And they don't usually do it, but the ball pythons do it a lot. It's called periscoping. And they just come up to kind of look around. Yeah. It's actually very cute, but it's not a strike position. Should we wrap this up?
Sure.
Do you feel better about...
I really do, actually. I do. I mean, look at this. This is just adorable.
All right, my friend.
But dude, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.